Yo ho ho, Dom Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of Fan v Fan. And we have a very exciting show for you today. Right off to my right, we have my dude Rich, who runs New York Jets Media. Oh, shit. Sorry about that, guys, real fast. Perfect. And so I had my YouTube tab right on the other side, and I was hearing myself. I thought I was going crazy. And then right below him, we have my dude Ian. He runs Jet Central. And then, of course, my dude Rich from Built in Buffalo, helping us preview this New York Jets team. But first, I do want to give everyone an opportunity to make an introduction of themselves. And yeah, let's go from there. Starting off with you, Rich. So where can the Dom Mafia find you?
What's going on, guys? You guys know me from probably the AFC Roundtable if you guys tune in. My name's Richie. I run Jets Media on YouTube. I got a Twitter account, NY Jets Media, and an Instagram account. And I run another NFL channel called Touchdown Kingdom if you guys are interested for NFL content. So, yeah, you guys know where to find me. I've been posting as much Jets content as I could during these dark times.
What about you, Ian? What's good?
Yeah, man. Pretty much same thing. YouTube page all about the New York Jets, breaking news, trades, all that kind of good stuff. It's called Jet Central. And yeah, Dan, thanks so much for having me on, man.
No problem, man. Super excited. And then last but not certainly least, my buddy Rich. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Dan? How you doing? Rich, Akeem Richards, Built in Buffalo, co-founder of Built in Buffalo, along with my brother DM3, Dave Myers. And you can find us on all social media platforms. We try to stay consistently consistent on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and other places as well. So look out for Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Once again, I definitely appreciate the three of you coming on today. I think that this is going to be a great collab, especially previewing this game. And no offense, guys. With the past 2 weeks the Bills have gone through, I'm sort of happy that we are playing the New York Jets on Sunday. And I feel like you guys are feeling a little bit of the same. So, I mean, I'm actually interested right before we dive into the preview by itself. It's clear that the Jets are having a fire sale of practically their entire talent, like right at this point. And I'm sort of curious to hear what's happening there, right? So, I mean, are y'all just trading everyone not named is Mekhi Becton, or what's the deal? Starting off with Ian. So you're muted, man.
Oh my God. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Dude, so it's been insane, honestly. Going into the year, I didn't really think that the Jets were going to be like a playoff competitor or anything like that. I was thinking, 4 to 6 wins, but dude, now it's looking like 0-16, 1-15. Like it's that bad. But I mean, just looking at the entire team, top to bottom, from Joe Douglas down to Adam Gase, down to the coordinators, Loggins and Greg Williams, down to the players, it's just been a complete abomination. So I mean, at this point, nothing would surprise me. If it comes out a week from now that Darnold's traded to the Steelers for a second-round pick, I'd be like, okay, wow, now we're definitely going to be going to full pedal to the metal for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, we saw a couple practice squad moves here and there. Like we traded Wills to the 49ers, we traded C. McClendon to the Bucks, flat out cut Le'Veon Bell, and then there's been some talks with like Jamison Crowder and whatnot too. But I mean, to answer your question, dude, I'm not surprised at all. Like at this point, I feel like the entire roster is up for sale, or Joe Douglas will pick up the phone on anybody outside of Mekhi Becton and Brian Poole.
Very interesting, because I would love Brian Poole, honestly. Would love Brian Poole. In fact, I mean, I'm fine to send you guys a second-round pick for Quinnen Williams all day.
Dude, that's another guy that he's being floated around like second-round pick. I'm like, I mean, if I was running the team, I would hang on to Quinnen, I would hang on to Becton, and Poole. You would kind of have to pry from my fingers, but everybody else, I'm listening to offers.
Just send them off. And so what's your take, Rich?
So, yeah, I kind of agree with almost everything Ian just said. Joe Douglas is definitely going to try to trade anything with an ounce of value that he does not see have any type of future on this team. So he's looking at players. He's looking at guys like who's going to be a free agent next year, who's going to walk in free agency. And if he's not going to be on this team next year, I might as well trade him for anything. You know, we have like 4 6-round picks in 2022 by now. Joe Douglas gets value in any way. He wants to get rid of any ounce of value, because if you look at this team right now, he is inheriting a mess from Mike Maccagnan and all these past GMs from the Jets. So he is going through the motions of cleaning up a huge mess, and he wants to bring in his guys, and he wants to build a quote unquote the best culture in sports. That's what he said. And to Jets fans, that's like, what? I mean, we wish we can have somewhat of a good culture. You know what I mean? And that's going to take time. And I know patience is a bad word to float around Jets fans right now because it's extremely dark times. But to answer your question, I do think Joe Douglas is going to pick up the phone on anybody and consider trading anybody. I would hold on to Quinnen Williams. I would not trade him for a 2nd-round pick because he is a guy that you build around. He's not someone you trade. And I do think that anybody that's on a 1-year deal, or even anybody that we are paying next year, that Joe Douglas is going to try to move, especially if we continuously to lose leading up to the trade deadline, which looks like we're going to. So Joe Douglas is definitely going to trade a lot of fan favorite players. And I could see that him trade Brian Poole. I really hope they don't. I want the only 3 guys on defense I want for this future is Brian Poole, Quinnen Williams, and Marcus May. Those 3 guys I think have a future, but at the same time, Brian Poole and Marcus May, they're free agent next year. So if Joe Douglas thinks you know what, these 2 guys, they're going to walk in free agency because I don't want to pay them, then I'm going to trade him. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think he's going to trade any of his own draft picks from 2020. I think everybody else is up for sale.
Very interesting. Very interesting, right? So, I mean, we're gearing up for this game on Sunday. And first, I'm going to ask A-Rich this question because I want a Bills fans perspective, but then I also kind of want to ask so our friends from the opposite side of the state. And this is a tough one, but I do want to start off with A-Rich. What is wrong with the Buffalo Bills defense? Diagnose.
What is not wrong with the Buffalo Bills defense right now, right? I think it's a combination of a plethora of things. I think we got spoiled, number one, for last year's defense. We was ranked top 3 in the NFL. We got spoiled as fans, but at the same time, we have to call a spade a spade. We cannot ignore who we played last year. Once again, we played Pittsburgh without a quarterback. We played the Cincinnati Bengals, Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets twice. So our schedule last year wasn't that great to begin with. So we got spoiled with the 2019 defense. This year, we have a lot tougher schedule. The players are a lot more talented on these offensive teams. Heck, even the bad teams have a lot better talent offensively than they did last year. So it's definitely a combination of that as well as us not executing. We're simply not executing properly. If we have a game plan and a scheme against Kansas City to have 2 deep safeties, that means we want to keep everybody in front of us. If we want to keep everybody in front of us, we have to make the play. We have to be able to tackle. We have to be able to execute. So I believe we have to be able to execute, which we're not doing. And I believe our coaching staff have to do a better job of putting our players in positions to make plays.
Very interesting. Honestly, and so I feel like Bills fans have theories for days, but now I really want to hear an outside perspective. These 2 guys that are off to my right, not only would they know a lot about the Jets, but they do know football. So, starting off with Ian, right? If you were to diagnose what is wrong with the Bills defense, what would you say the issue is?
So I think it's 2 things. Well, 3 things really, but kind of breaking it down step by step. Number one, I think, and this is actually a good problem to have. When I look at Buffalo, I think the offense is doing a lot better. They have a lot better of an offense this year than they did last year. So they're putting up more points, thus making the defense get back out in the field more. The defense is out in the field more. And when Buffalo is scoring points, getting up into the 30-point range, opposing offenses are having to throw the ball a lot. So I feel like that's maybe from a statistical kind of viewpoint, that's maybe where Buffalo could be struggling because the offense is that good that it's just, putting up crazy amounts of, scores on everybody. I think keeping of course, the run game has been an issue, but that's kind of just a cliche, they suck against the run. But I think keeping quarterbacks in the pocket and really, I mean, just look at the Chiefs game. Like, I feel like the sole reason why the Bills lost that game was Mahomes just extending plays, just getting out of the pocket, just buying time, turning a play from 3 to 4 to 5 seconds to 6, 7, 8. You know, like that's a lot of time that that's too much expectation to put on secondary members, cornerbacks, safeties. I really like Buffalo's roster. They're kind of young. They're up and coming. I like the scheme with Frazier and McDermott. But I think right now it's just like a matter of containing quarterbacks, just like making sure guys aren't extending plays and, just trying their best to stop the run. But I think the offense, I mean, that's obviously a good problem to have.
Yeah, for sure. And so what you got, Rich?
So, yeah, I mean, carrying over from everything that Ian just said, it's crazy. Last year, the Buffalo Bills were so good and they were known to be a defensive team. And some critics were like, yeah, that defense carried them to the playoffs. And now it's the complete opposite. The Buffalo Bills offense is dynamic and the Buffalo Bills offense is carrying the load from the defense. And I think this defense, the main issue is the defensive front is not getting to the quarterback and they're not stopping the run. And those are two components you need to win football games. It's a battle of the trenches in the NFL. If you cannot protect your quarterback and not, create holes for your running back, you're not going to succeed. Even on the defensive side, if you cannot get pressure on the quarterback and if you cannot contain the run, you're not going to win games. So I didn't know this, but Dan told me before we streamed, the Buffalo Bills have the highest payroll out of anybody in the defensive line, and they are not living up to that expectation. So that is a main issue. Last year, the Buffalo Bills were, what were they, like top 3 in pass defense, which Davius White, and they have one of the best safety tandems. So I think that their problem is they can't get to the quarterback. They're giving him way too much time. Like what Ian just said, Patrick Mahomes was extending the plays way too much. They couldn't contain him in the pocket. He was creating plays out of nothing, and you can't do that. And these guys in the secondary, they cannot lock it down for 8 seconds, 7 seconds. They need to get pressure on the quarterback, and that's their main issue. I think no defense in this league can succeed if you cannot generate pressure and if you cannot stop the run. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs went from a crazy pass-heavy offense, and all of a sudden they just gave the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it felt like he ran the ball for 7 yards every single carry. And the Chiefs are not known to be a run-first offense at times. You think of the Chiefs as a chucking the ball 80 yards downfield with Patrick Mahomes. So for them to adjust mid-play because of Andy Reid is a mastermind offensive genius, he understands how to adjust, unlike Adam Gase. But they completely exposed the Buffalo Bills' problems, which is running down their throats and understanding that Patrick Mahomes has all the time in the world back there in the pocket.
Yeah, for sure, man. And so I think that Sean McDermott said it best, like during his post-game press conference, saying with the Kansas City Chiefs and with that offense, you need to pick your poison, right? And so many people were sitting there trying to say, hey, like this game plan was super suspect. But at the end of the day, like the Buffalo Bills were a millisecond away from that fumble being stripped from Clyde Edwards-Helaire to having a huge chance of actually winning that game. So when you look at it, the game plan worked, but it was just the execution. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we cannot cause pressure on the quarterback. And that's just a ripple effect at that point. That's going to affect our secondary. That's going to affect our linebacker core. And what hurts, and one common denominator that it has always been, when a man by the name of Matt Milano is not on the field, the Buffalo Bills defense is garbaggio. That's just how it is. I'm really hoping that he'll be able to play right against the New York Jets. Say that he doesn't. I mean, I'm okay with giving him one more week, but surprisingly, Jets fans, I do see you guys putting up points right up against the Buffalo Bills, like believe it or not. And so I do see the Bills actually winning this game handedly, but I wouldn't be surprised if y'all get to like the 17 mark, maybe even 21, because of how much our defense is significantly struggling. But as far as the diagnosis is concerned, I think a lot of it just has to do with that pass rush issue. But let me just digress from that point. So this sort of gets me to is my next question, right? So Sunday, it's definitely highly anticipated. So the Jets are 0-6, and so the Buffalo Bills are 4-2. We're coming off 2 heartbreaking losses. So Rich, starting off with you, say that you were the head coach right of the New York Jets right now. What is your game plan against the Buffalo Bills?
I think they have to go heavy run, especially if Mekhi Becton's out there and is healthy. I think that the Buffalo Bills really do struggle against the run, and they need to get the rookie Lamichael Piron the ball. It's really it infuriates me to see Frank Gore get the ball more than him. I'm so sick of watching I'm so happy, first of all, Joe Flacco is not playing, because for a 35-year-old quarterback to hand it off to a 37-year-old running back, as a Jets fan, it's like, what am I watching? You know what I mean? There's no ounce of hope. There's nothing I can look forward to seeing. So I think the Jets should really establish a run game, but at the same time, they don't really have Le'Veon Bell anymore. So that was our only ounce of hope, to have a deadly run game. Lamichael Piron's a rookie. He shows potential, but we don't know. He's a big unknown. So I do want to see them open up the playbook. Sam Darnold does have a history of coming back from injury / mono and playing well. I mean, last year the Jets had no wins, and
in the post-mono game, bro.
The post-mono game against the Dallas Cowboys, all of a sudden he comes out, throws a 90-yard dime to Robbie Anderson. And last year, when he came back from his foot injury, he came out and lit up the league. So for some reason, Darnold does miss time in his first 3 years, and he comes back and plays well. So we'll see if that happens. I want to see Adam Gase open up the playbook. We do luckily are getting some weapons back on offense. Denzel Mims could be making his NFL debut, and Jets fans, that is probably the best news that we've ever heard, because that's our second-round pick. That's a guy that all throughout the offseason, we've all been so hyping up, like, this guy shouldn't have fell that far in the draft. He was definitely a first-round talent, and he just hasn't been on the field because of his hamstring. So we're just finally getting healthy around Sam, and I just want to see them open up the playbook, and I want to see Sam take shots down the field, because I feel like Adam Gase's offense is way too conservative, way too many little out routes, and it's not creative. I mean, I'm not expecting anything from Adam Gase's offense, to be honest, because at this point, it's just – I can't even it's so predictable. I'm watching, I'm like, yep, he's about to run an out route. And that's exactly what happened. So this offense is going to be stale. And I just want them to be aggressive. That's all I want. I want them to keep the Buffalo Bills on their heels, because take advantage of the weaknesses. Do exactly what the Chiefs did. Obviously, we don't have the personnel as the Chiefs, but Andy Reid is a perfect example of exploiting the weaknesses in defenses. And that's what they should do.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And so, Ian, what you got, man? And so what's your game plan against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday?
Yeah, so right. So whenever you're talking about just the sport of football in general, like, not just the Jets, but just any team out there, like, you play to win the game. You don't play not to lose. And I feel like Adam Gase, just like Rich was saying, like, he plays not to lose. Like, it's almost like he wants the score to be 0-0 or 3-3. Like, he doesn't want to just take that extra step and just put his foot on the neck of the opponents. As far as the game plan goes, I think I would try to build off the play action and get Sam Darnold moving from sideline to sideline, just horizontally. That's something that the Jets have not done at all, and especially in the last couple games when it's been Joe Flacco. That guy he has feet made of stone. I mean, the guy cannot move at all. He's not going to be running. He's not going to be extending the play. Like, it's not there. It's just seemingly not there at all. So if I'm Gase, if I'm Dowell Loggins, the offensive coordinator, I'm getting Sam Darnold on the move. And I'm not saying like having him, try to play like Kyler Murray or like Lamar or somebody like that, or even a Joe Burrow where he's like keeping it on like the read options, but just having him move around. Like, let's do what the Chiefs did. Let's do what some of these teams did out there to, have success against your defense. But I think the big thing is getting Darnold to move around and getting him to roll out like bootleg style of plays. I mean, it sucks. Everything's out of the shotgun in Adam Gase's offense. So, you can't really get a major fake with, doing like rollouts and stuff like that. But that's definitely something that I want to see because we just don't do it. It's just, three step drop balls out every play.
Yeah. And Rich. All right, man. And so you are the head coach, right, of the New York Jets. What's your game plan going to beat the Buffalo Bills?
Like these gentlemen said, Sam Darnold has a history of coming back from injuries or from missed games and playing well. 2018, when he came back from that broken foot, he was 16 to 24, 170 yards and a touchdown. The numbers don't seem really extravagant, but when you saw it with your eyes, he made plays. He made plays with Robbie Anderson. He made big time plays. So he's accustomed to coming back and performing well. So I would put the game in Sam Darnold's hands. And he's my best player. He gives us the best chance to win. I'm going to put it in Sam Darnold's hands, and hopefully he can do what he do and come out on top. Whether that's the screen game, we all know Adam Gase loves to run screens, right? He runs a lot of predictable plays. The game plan would be nice to follow Andy Reid, but he doesn't have Andy Reid's football IQ to put that into fruition, right? So we have to put it in Sam Darnold's hands, and he's going to have to use that short passing game. Hopefully Denzel Mims comes back, because you're going to need yak guys in order for this short passing game to work, and hopefully Yak will excel doing that.
And so that's a great take. Honestly, say that I was the head coach of the New York Jets, I would be running the damn ball, a bunch of inside zone, beating up the interior right of our defensive line, because since Star Latuule opted out this year, we cannot stop from the middle right of our defensive line. That and a whole bunch of screens and really tire out this Bills defense. What most people don't understand is that right now, the only fully healthy cornerback that we have right now is Taron Johnson, and two guys that are on our practice squad at this point. With Trey White, he's limited. Josh Norman's not going to be there. Levi Wallace is still on the IR. Our CB room is in significant trouble, especially when it comes from a depth perspective. So there's going to be a lot of injuries. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean McDermott rests a lot of these guys that are sort of dealing with these nagging sort of injuries by itself. So, I mean, we are going to have a huge personnel issue on Sunday. So that's exactly what I would do. That, and definitely use that tight end of yours as well. Definitely use that tight end, because the Buffalo Bills have been getting dominated by tight ends this entire game. That's offensive. As far as like your defensive thing is, like, I mean, like, y'all have an amazing run defense. That's one thing that I will say about the Jets. And then from one other thing as well, from weeks 1 through 4, most defenses were playing a lot of man, and it wasn't working. And Josh Allen was throwing for over 300 yards each and every single game. But once we ended up playing Tennessee and the Chiefs, they have seemed to find the blueprint into slowing down that offense by playing a lot of zone and getting pressure by itself. Would definitely try my best to contain Josh Allen, because he seems to be our most efficient rusher this entire season. Definitely not Singletary, and definitely not Zach Moss either. So, I mean, that would be my overall game plan going into it. So now I sort of want to switch the buck here. And so I want to sort of pretend that we are all the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Starting off with Rich, what is your game plan going in to Sunday, 1 p.m. right against the Jets? And so how the Bills taking home the dub?
We have to get back into what's working, right? Last week, 14 for 27, 122 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. That's not going to get it done for our guy, Josh Allen. When we're 4-0 and things are riding high, we can talk about the running game, right? We can talk about the offensive line. We can nitpick a little bit because we want to expand, because we are 4-0. Now that we're 4-2 and we took steps back, we just have to do what we do well, and that's get Josh Allen back in his groove, let him get back in rhythm. Hopefully, we have protection behind him, and he can excel in the passing game, open up the rushing game by using Josh Allen, and get him back going. We need Josh Allen to look like the franchise quarterback again. So if we can do that, I think we can be successful on offense. We had a couple of weeks now where John Brown has been injured. John Brown, in my opinion, is an X factor for our offense. He brings a different dynamic with a 4-3 speed. When that 4-3 speed is not in there, these passing lanes get a lot tighter. So hopefully Brian Dable, Ken Dorsey, and that coaching staff understands in 3 weeks later other ways to get the Buffalo Bills offense going without John Brown in the ball game. And I think he will do that today on Sunday. Excuse me. If he does that offensively, I think we'll be fine. Defensively, we just want to do something well, right? Whether that's contain them on in the run department, contain them in an passing department. We just want to do something well. We want to be able to maintain our gaps. We want to be able to contain the outside. We want to be able to make the tackle. I want to see fundamental football. Let's make fundamentally sound football decisions on Sunday. And if we can do that, get back to the X's and O's, I think the Buffalo Bills will be successful.
Very interesting. And so what about you, Ian? And so you're the head coach of the Bills. So what's your game plan going into this?
Yeah, so my game plan is to do pretty much absolutely anything. Because I mean, watching this Jets team,
just show up, just show up,
just complete the football, just hand the football off. They'll win. But no, like in all seriousness, man, the Jets have literally they've lost every game, obviously, but it's also been by double digits. I mean, last week it's 24-0. To the Miami Dolphins. Like, Miami is not a Super Bowl contender. They're not going to win the division. They're the third best team in the league, or in the division rather. And yet they're just mopping the floor with New York. You know, the one good thing for Buffalo, I know they've kind of stumbled over the past couple of weeks, but if I were to ask you guys, you know, who are the best teams in the AFC, you guys would probably say KC, Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Baltimore.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you guys are playing top competition, no pun intended, but like the Titans of the conference. And now you're going from the Super Bowl champions to the worst team in the league. So I think you guys will definitely get back on track. I think the Bills do play pretty well in MetLife Stadium. But as far as like an actual game plan on defense, I would try to get back on track by sending the house and forcing Darnold to beat corners one-on-one, because I don't frankly think that the wide receivers can separate by themselves. I think that Buffalo can probably play a lot of cover one, a lot of cover zero, and just send the house and just make Darnold just chuck it up there. And then the corners can just make plays in open space and, you know, trying to, whatever it is, defend the pass or get interceptions, whatever the case may be. And I know you touched on it before with cornerback depth, but I think at the end of the day, New York cannot do anything. They can't score touchdowns. They can't get first downs. They can't move the chains at all. And then on offense, try to just control the clock. I mean, it's kind of Buffalo Bills football. This year's more like flashy, a lot of points, downfield, highlight type plays, kind of like the Chiefs. But honestly, I would kind of go back to last year. You know, what did the Bills do last year to have success against this Jets team? If you do that, I'm pretty sure you're going to be A-okay, because you look at the roster, it's way worse, but it's the same coaching staff. And, they put out the same like redundant game plan each and every week. So pretty much those are the only two things that I would kind of focus on going in.
It's interesting. So what about you, Rich?
So yeah, Ian actually just stole some of the words out of my mouth when it comes to the Bills should go back to what they did last year. You know what I mean? Like, the Bills offense last year was more about establishing a run game, which set up the pass game. I feel like if they come out there, and you say that the Jets have an elite run defense, they did last year. Right now, it's not the same as last year. The Jets are giving up big runs, but they are containing them. That's our only strong suit to the defense. But I do think that the Bills should go back and getting Devin Singletary the ball, establish a run game, get Josh Allen involved in the run game, and then eventually that's going to open it up and do play actions, because our secondary is not good. And I think Stephon Diggs is going to be able to separate all day on Pierre this year. And I think that eventually down the game, what they should do is set up the play action and take long shots down the field to Stephon Diggs, because that's really what the Buffalo Bills offense is more about. Downfield, they kind of got away from what they were doing last year. So if I think they combine their elements from last year to this year, of last year they were run first, this year they're more pass first, if they can combine both and get both of them rolling on the struggling Jets team, I think this Bills team would easily beat the New York Jets. And then when it comes to the defensive side of things, I don't really know what else to say. You're going up against Adam Gase's offense. So it's all predictable. You know what's coming. It's conservative. They're never going to take a shot. And it's all horizontal routes. They're never vertical. They never get the tight end involved. And it's 2nd and 10. They're going to run it up the middle. It's just terrible offense. So for your defense, just like what you guys said, just show up and you'll be successful against this offense.
Yeah, for sure. And so what I really liked was Ian's point saying just run a bunch of cover one and cover zero. Say that there's one thing that is going to give this Buffalo Bills team from the confidence level of rated their defensive line and their overall pass rush, it's going to be really resorting back into it, because while our cornerback room is scathed right at this point, I have complete confidence that if we run those cover ones and cover zeros, that we can finally start making that pressure, giving our guys that offense, and then really just relying right on our secondary, who is still very, very good, and relying on them to make plays by itself. Trey White said that the defense is still trying to find their identity. And in my opinion, what the Buffalo Bills' identity is as defense is, I don't want it to be bend but not break. I want it to be a hybrid of that, but I want to be known as the defense that is going to take the ball away. And we have the personnel to do that with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, and same with Trey White. Say that White will be playing. That would be my game plan defensively. As far as offensively rate is concerned, last week what upset me was the fact that we came right out the gates trying to run the ball. It is clear that the Buffalo Bills, we are not a run-first team anymore, and we shied away from what makes us what we do best, and what we do best is passing the ball. I do want to see some run plays right at the end of the day, but I want Josh Allen to establish play action as soon as possible and really take advantage of this secondary with the New York Jets. So that is essentially going to be my game plan going in. So, nice. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to start sort of have it on the table, and then give our final score prediction and one bold prediction rate of this entire game. Starting off with Rich.
Hoping you were going to pick me. Okay. Score prediction. I think that the Buffalo Bills will win this one 31-17. And I think that bold prediction is that Sam Darnold throws for over 300 yards.
Wow. Okay.
But he can't get in the end zone as much.
And so what about you, Ian?
I mean, you did say bold prediction, right?
Yeah, I did say bold prediction.
So I want to make sure everyone knows bold prediction.
Yeah, I did.
Right. Man, Bills fans are going to love me. Jets fans are going to hate me. Score prediction, 38-10 Buffalo.
Wow.
Bold prediction, Allen goes off. He's going up against the defensive play for the Jets has been non-existent. It's been horrible, man. And it's like, yeah, of course, like, having a 32nd ranked offense doesn't help when they're going 3 and out every single drive, and the defense is sitting on the field. But yeah, 38-10 Buffalo. Bold prediction, Josh Allen enters the MVP conversation after the game.
Again, nice. Most definitely. It was very nice weeks 1 through 4 hearing that. And so that Josh Allen was in the MVP conversation, but then that spiraled down the drain these past 2 weeks. Would love for him to be back in. And so what about you, Rich? What's your final score prediction and bold prediction?
37-21 Buffalo.
37-21.
Yeah, I think our offense.
21 points.
Yeah, I think our offense will execute in the passing department, and I think bold prediction. I think Devin Singletary and Zach Moss will both have 100 yards rushing apiece. I have to agree with Richie a little bit. In the past, I seen the Jets run defense lights out. I also seen the San Francisco game this year. So I seen some of the struggles. I think the Buffalo Bills will make an emphasis running the ball a little bit, and we're going to run the hot hand once we start getting those yards, once we start getting those big yards. So I think bold prediction, 37-21, both my running backs over 100 yards.
Damn. All right. And so my final score prediction is going to be 31-10. The Buffalo Bills will win, and I see the Buffalo Bills defense getting 3 picks right off of Darnold, and one of them will be from a defensive lineman. A defensive lineman will get an interception. So, I mean, that's something that I think is super bold, but right at the end of the day, I don't know. We'll see what's going on.
Who's picking it off?
Yeah. Who? All right. So you want me to get super bold. All right. So the guy that we just signed from our practice squad, Justin Zimmer, it's going to be him.
All
And
right.
so he's going to get like a nice little tip ball. There you go.
Another quick bold prediction. Marcus May butt pick 2.0.
The butterception was sick, dude.
I know.
And so the
Yeah, it was.
butterception, and so I feel like the butterception just rolls off the tongue a bit better than a butt pick, right?
Yeah, butterception. You're right. I like that. I do like that.
And so
it's
I
actually
do
positive, not the butt fumble,
Yeah,
which is negative.
yeah, for sure. And so I think that like with that play, they put to rest the butt fumble. Like
Sure
that was
hope
the
so.
universe sort of
Hopefully.
reversing
Yeah,
everything.
hopefully.
That's been dragged on for 7 years. I mean, since it's happened. I mean, it was that bad.
And so who knows? Like that might be like the karma that you guys have needed to turn around your franchise. So I mean, like now that the preview's over, like I just need to ask the Jets fans, why the hell is Adam Gase still the head coach of that team? I gotta know. So I'm sure that y'all don't know. I'm sure that y'all don't know. But I mean, I just and so I need to hear your theory. Why is he still the coach?
So, Rich, you want to take it away first, or you want me?
No,
to
you got it. You got it.
All right. So, I mean, Dan, you're asking why is he the coach? I mean, we were asking that question when he got hired the next day. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, nobody wanted this guy. It's like, we were talking about it like on the channel and everything. Like, yo, let's see what's up with Matt LaFleur. Let's see what's up with all these different guys. And it's like Adam Gase, the only guy that I did not want outside of like Hugh Jackson. There was another guy too who I really did not want. I can't remember who it is, but I remember, man, like I threw my phone down as soon as I heard the news, and and I didn't want to come on and just be like this negative Nancy or anything like that. Of course I was going to support Gase, support the hire and everything like that, but
so quick question, my bad. How much does Peyton Manning have to do with this? Because I think he played a huge role in the endorsement of Peyton Manning and the way he is and the way he's viewed as a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he had a lot to do with the hire. I want to get your thoughts.
Dude, 1,000% right. That was one of the big things because the Jets interviewed, guys like Matt Rule and whatnot, and the Jets actually had candidates say, no, we don't want to even come to the Jets. Like, we don't even want to bother like being the head coach. And it got really, really close with Matt Rule, and then it fell through. And then really quickly after that, I think it was the following day, Chris Johnson got on a phone call with Peyton Manning. Totally raved about Gase, and it went from there. So, I mean, to answer Dan's question, I mean, at this point, it's like the main rumor is that they don't want to stunt Darnold's development, but I think that's just kind of like an excuse, to be honest with you. I feel like at this point in the season, the Jets are shooting for that number 1 pick, and if they fire a guy like Gase, all of a sudden the team has an opportunity to win. As crazy as that sounds,
right?
So,
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw what's going on with the Texans and the Falcons. They win their first game of the season the week after they fire their coach. But yeah, I think everything you said, I agree with. The moment we've hired Adam Gase, I was so pissed off, and I immediately just tried to be as optimistic as I can because I try to be realistically optimistic. And I was like, all right, how can I find a way to support this guy? And he was the last on my list. I remember going through the coaching search, and Gase was always at the bottom. I literally wanted anybody else but him. And when we hired him, it was just a nightmare. I'm like, no. And then I tried to, all right, what could be good? What could be good? And everything I forced myself to think was completely wrong. So yeah, Peyton Manning had probably the biggest reason that why Adam Gase is here. And I am so pissed off about that. Active owner Christopher Johnson obviously does not understand football because he's talking to Peyton Manning, and anything Peyton Manning's saying, he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. When Peyton Manning just likes Adam Gase because he was, they're friendly. So Adam Gase, why is he still here? I don't think the Jets, at least in my lifetime, the Jets have never fired a coach in the middle of the season. They always wait to the end. The year they fired Todd Bowles, Christopher Johnson said in the middle of the season, they support Todd Bowles, and he was saying nothing but great things about Todd Bowles, which made us think like, oh, is he going to get fired or not? And then in the season, he got fired. So I think that Adam Gase will be fired right after this year. I don't know why they are not firing him right now. The theory is, like Ian said, that they don't want to stunt Darnold's growth. But I think that when Darnold gets out of Adam Gase. And if the Jets move on from Sam Darnold, I do believe if Sam goes to any other team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Colts, I think that Darnold has enough talent to thrive. You see what Ryan Tannehill is doing with the Tennessee Titans right now, and it's going to be all over again. I'm going to buy a Pittsburgh Steelers Sam Darnold jersey, and I'm going to be supporting him while we have Trevor Lawrence, and I'll be happy with Trevor Lawrence, obviously. But it upsets me as a Jets fan because I put so much energy into Sam Darnold being our guy, our franchise quarterback. In my lifetime, we've never had a franchise quarterback. We went from Chad Pennington to Mark Sanchez, woohoo. And then you know what happened to Mark Sanchez, to Geno Smith. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, you guys didn't have a franchise quarterback for a while either until you guys now have Josh Allen finally. Yeah, so you guys were right there with us. So when we got Sam Darnold, I really anticipated it would be Darnold and Josh Allen running the AFC East. And for now to see what's going on with his Jets and to see that there might be moving on from Sam and Sam's regressing in the system, it kind of breaks my heart. I'm being really, you guys, Sam doesn't deserve to be treated this way, but at the same time, he does need to play better. And I think that these next 10 games is going to determine a lot for this franchise. Sam hears the news that the Jets are tanking for Trevor and all this. He got asked in an interview. He hears it. So he's going to go out there and fight for his job. If he wants to be the Jets franchise quarterback, he has 10 games to prove it. If he goes out there and stinks it up and they lose and they're 0-16, then the Jets are going to have to take Trevor Lawrence. If he goes out there and plays well and they steal 2 or 3 games, then we're not going to be in position to draft Trevor Lawrence. So it's going to be really interesting. But I wish Adam Gase was fired yesterday because everything he's doing to this team is just making us go backwards instead of forwards. And I'm low-key a little slight of me nervous that they're not going to fire him. I don't even want to put that in the universe because if that happens, I don't know what Jets fans would do if he's the coach next year, but it's like a nightmare to think about that.
And so we know that Richie is a diehard Darnold supporter. And so where are you at with that, Ian? And so you ready to move on?
Dude, I knew that was going to come up. I knew it was going to come up.
I knew it. I had to.
If the choice is between Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold, I'm taking Lawrence 1,000%. I mean, personally, I'm done with Sam. I know that's not a popular thing. I know a lot of Jets fans might get angry with that because like Darnold was coming in, he was the savior. We traded up to get him, 3rd overall pick. I mean, even a guy like Sanchez, like he wasn't as highly touted coming out of USC as Darnold was, and a lot of people had him going to Cleveland, but the Browns passed on him. Then he falls to the Giants. Then the Giants pass on him, and then he falls to New York. And this whole, storyline came up, or, there's a lot of buzz saying that, Jets got quarterback 1, we're going to be set for the next 15 years. But it's like, when I look at the situation, like, what are the facts? The facts are Darnold's had no help. He's not had any weapons. I mean, Le'Veon Bell and Crowder are weapons, but they just, for whatever reason, they just don't get the football. They're just not working out. But I feel like from top to bottom, the Jets are in a weird spot. I mean, we're in year 3, and he looked better his rookie year. You look at the contract situation, and it's like, all right, well, the Jets are the worst team next year, and we get the number 1 pick, and we trade down, and we get all these picks. Like, question 1: do we trust Joe Douglas to nail all these draft picks? Because that's something that the Jets GMs have struggled with big time. And my cat's messing with the lighting over here, but no, I mean, to answer your question, Dan, I'm 1,000% in. I bought in with Trevor Lawrence. I have been for years. I didn't think the Jets would be in the Lawrence sweepstakes because they are pretty close in age. But I mean, at this point, I mean, honestly, if the Jets are a bottom 3, bottom 5 team in the league, I would probably just start over, get a brand new head coach in the building, trade Sam Darnold to whoever, and then, go with the Justin Fields if he's on the board.
Yeah.
And go from there.
You know what's the crazy thing about Adam Gase? He's supposed to be an offensive guru, and Sam Darnold looked better under Jeremy Bates.
Dude. It doesn't make sense.
He was the offensive player of the month. Sam Darnold looked like he was trending in the right direction, and then in comes Gase with his philosophy, and I think he flat out ruined the kid. I think Sam Darnold has potential. I think if he gets in the right coaching staff with the right guys around him and the right staff in place, I think Sam Darnold has potential to be a good quarterback in this league. It matters where you go, and it matters who your coach is. And I think Sam Darnold is greatly affected by that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I do, because it's Darnold still has an upside. Like he's made plays. Like he has like some highlights out there and stuff like that. But it's like, to me, he reminds me of Blake Bortles. Like the fan base really likes him. They're both bigger guys that can move around, that kind of have like a loopy release. They make crazy, crazy highlight type plays, but for the majority of the game, it's just like the consistency is an issue. And even like statistically speaking, like when you look at like, just like the run of the mill numbers, like completion percentage, like TD to INT ratios and stuff like that, like they're really, really similar. So I can't commit a big money contract to Sam Darnold after back-to-back years being the worst offense in the league. Like, I just don't feel comfortable doing that, But, I mean, this is probably what's going to happen. He's going to go to a team that has a competent coaching staff, a competent front office. And, like Richie was saying, like he could go to Pittsburgh and he'll probably pick up a Steelers jersey and he'll probably do really well, because that's just how things work with the Jets. But if you're just asking me, Darnold or Lawrence, I'm going Lawrence.
Interesting. And so it's funny because Ian, so right before I knew you, was doing research right on your channel. And one of the first videos that popped up was your live stream during that draft, during that massive draft. And I forgot who you were hoping for, but as soon as when they announced that Darnold was drafted by the Jets, I saw the visible disappointment in your face.
Yeah.
You were like, shit.
Right.
And so who did you want, by the way?
So, yeah, that was actually the big misconception with that video was I thought Darnold was going to be a bust. And I did not want him. I thought he was going to be he's going to suck from Jump Street. But in reality, he was just out of the four guys that were realistically being talked about, he was the last one that I wanted, just because nobody really had Lamar Jackson as a top 5, top 10 kind of pick at that time.
No one did.
Yeah, hindsight's always 2020. So I'm not gonna BS around. I'm not gonna say oh, I had Lamar at the top or anything like that. And quite frankly, I don't think he would be this good with the Jets. The Jets are a complete mess. But at the time, I really liked Josh Rosen and I really liked Baker Mayfield. I loved all four. I thought all four were going to be franchise guys. But I remember all the prep that the Jets were doing, Jeremy Bates, Todd Bowles, the front office. They put so much stock into Baker Mayfield leading up to that draft. Bates, the old offensive coordinator, flew down to Oklahoma, created a whole custom playbook with the Oklahoma Sooners to incorporate with this Jets team to get Baker Mayfield in, and we were going to go from there. Because the rumor was Darnold was going to go one in Cleveland. Nobody really knew what was going to happen with New York, the Giants, but the feeling was they were not going to go with Mayfield. It was either going to be Barkley or Rosen or Allen, and they went Barkley, obviously. But I was the best fit that I wanted for the Jets was Baker at the time, and then he went one. So I'm oh my god, there goes hours and hours and hours of mental energy preparing for Baker Mayfield and this wave coming in. And then so number 2 was Josh Rosen for me. So I really wanted him, and then I liked Josh Allen a lot. That was my brother's favorite guy. I just don't know if he would have had the time to develop like he has with Buffalo. You're seeing the fruits of the labor now. He's really blossoming. I feel the rookie Josh Allen was probably going to be the NY media was just going to trash him and stuff like that. Oh, he's inaccurate. He throws too many picks and all the cliche kind of criticisms on JA. But it was Mayfield 1 and then Rosen 2. I just had a lot of question marks surrounding Sam. I thought he was going to be good. I thought he was going to be better than what he is now, but he was the guy in last place out of all four, the one that I really wanted. So that was kind of why I was so disappointed, but I knew it was kind of happening. As soon as the Giants picked him, I'm yeah, Darnold's going to New York.
Damn. And so to be honest with you, and so most Bills fans will most likely be mad at me, but I wanted Josh Rosen. I really wanted Josh Rosen. Thank God it didn't happen. Thank God it didn't happen. Holy shit. Because I would be a very upset man right now.
I wanted Josh Rosen too.
And so you wanted Josh Rosen.
Well, for me, my whole process with that whole draft was I put a lot of time and energy into who I want. And in my brain, I thought that Sam Darnold was going number 1 to the Browns, like 100%. So I never really even considered him to be a Jet. So I watched Baker Mayfield tape. I watched Josh Allen, even Lamar Jackson, and Josh Rosen. And I honestly fell in love with Josh Rosen. And I thought that number 1 is going to be Sam. Number 2 is going to be Baker or Saquon. And then 3 is going to be Josh Rosen or Josh Allen. So I really thought Josh Rosen was going to be the New York Jet quarterback. And not going to lie, because of that mindset during the draft, I remember I woke up the day of the draft. I don't know if you guys remember this, but news broke that Baker Mayfield is going number 1. Like that news broke the day of the draft before it happened. And I was like, what? Baker's going number 1? Because I wanted Baker. I mean, I was like, Sam's going number 1. If Baker can get to 3, I'm down. But to answer your question, when the Jets were on the clock, when we initially drafted Sam, I'm not going to lie, there was a little like deflating in my body because I wanted Josh Rosen or Baker so much. But then immediately I was like, all right, we got Sam Darnold. And then all of a sudden, and then I'm a Sam Darnold fucking, huge believer because I from there on, I just got lost in his highlights. I got lost in his great plays in the Rose Bowl. What does he need to improve on? What is he really good at? And all this stuff. And then I just became, I invested. I'm like, this could be our new franchise quarterback. And I got lost in it. I kind of let my bias get in. I got my hope get in. I was just like hoping too much. I held on to Sam Darnold, and here we are at year 3. He's obviously regressing, and he is not looking like the quarterback I wished he did. And he looked, at that rookie season when he came back, when he gave us those like 6 games at the end of the season, it's like Jets fans were like, wow, this is it. He's going to make that second-year jump. And obviously that didn't happen. And then the third year, all right, he's going to make that third-year jump. And obviously it didn't happen. And he's also not consistently on the field. This is his 3rd year in a row not playing a full 16 games. And you need a franchise quarterback to be available. So, you know what I mean? Like I mentioned earlier, Sam Darnold, these next 10 games is going to determine his fate as a New York Jets quarterback. It's going to make the decision for Joe Douglas. You know what I mean? Because he's the one calling the shots. Fans can disagree because a lot of Jets fans are on 2 different sides of the spectrum, and that's totally okay. But it's all up to Joe Douglas. And I think that Sam Darnold understands, like he's aware, like he knows what's going on. He knows that the Jets can potentially move on from him. And if he genuinely wants out of New York, maybe he'll suck on purpose. But I don't think it's going to happen. But I think that Darnold's going to try to play his best football for the next 10 games to save his job as a New York Jet quarterback. And only time will tell if that will happen or not.
Interesting.
It's funny. Yeah, dude. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was like a believer like that with Geno Smith. Like that was the dude who like, coming out of Virginia, I'm like, dude, this guy, like, he has all the talent in the world to like be a baller, and but he just got like thrown out there early, and like that was just the dude that I'm like, I really, really, really wanted him to be the guy, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, exactly. When you get so invested in you wanting him to be the guy, then you're just so you're attached.
I may be going out on a limb here. Let me know if y'all disagree. I don't think at the time we viewed any of these guys as generational quarterbacks. So being that they are not generational quarterbacks, the staff that the Jets have on their roster, right, in their organization, I'm not sure if any quarterback they drafted would have been successful, just because of the coaching staff that they have in place. I think coaching really matters in this league. You look at Josh Allen and Sam Darnold, they have the same goddamn quarterback coach in the offseason. And we're seeing like kind of lopsided results, right? And I think the organizations behind that has something to do with that.
I couldn't agree more with you, man.
And so do you want Josh Allen? And so A-Rich or no? And so right there in that draft?
Did I want? No, I was big on Baker Mayfield. I wanted Baker.
So you were big on Baker?
I was like, he's cocky. I like the
bravado. He's feeling dangerous. He's feeling dangerous.
I was big on Baker, man.
Oh, dude, holy hell. Like, honestly, like with Josh Allen, I feel like that he got drafted in the perfect organization for his development. Like, I can't think of many other organizations where not only would the coaching staff have patience to let him develop, but like just like actually putting him into a place where like he could be built around with. Like, there's not many organizations that I think that say that Josh did not get drafted by the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if he'd be starting right now, to be honest with you.
I genuinely believe that if Sam Darnold got drafted by the Buffalo Bills, that he'd be playing way better football than he is so far this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, in his career, I mean, because like you said, the Buffalo Bills built around Josh Allen. continuity is a huge reason for it, and coaching is a huge reason for it. And they just develop the quarterback properly. If you want to see the blueprint to develop a quarterback properly, look at the Bills, and ruin a quarterback, it's the New York Jets. It's that upsetting, man. It just comes down to the Jets failing Sam, and it comes down to this. It might not be a relationship that is able to revive. And that's the truth that I'm trying to swallow. And I'm not delusional. I'm not like, Sam is the guy. Sam's still the guy. Like obviously below, I want that. I hope that. But I do understand the truth that if Trevor Lawrence is there, he is a generational guy. And I understand that is something that needs to be talked about and should be a big decision for Joe Douglas. And he could be doing that.
That's insane. That's insane.
It's
and
crazy.
Well, hey guys, so I mean, this has definitely been fun. We are approaching the 1 hour mark. So right before we end this, I just want to go on ahead and go around the table once again for you guys to say your goodbyes and let us all know what's going on with your channel throughout the rest of the week. Starting off with you, Rich.
Hey, Rich, Hakeem Richens, once again, built in Buffalo. Shout out my bro Dan, man, for having me on your show, man. It's been a blast. Richie, Jet Central, I really appreciate y'all. It's been fun to really go into dialogue and discussions with other teams around the AFC East, man. So I really appreciate y'all. You can find Built in Buffalo on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have a show tomorrow, a broadcast tomorrow. Bill's Allergy, myself, my brother Cole. We'll be on tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. And we just want to continue to deliver knowledgeable content for the people, man. The media outlets are great, but sometimes they're so far out there, they're not really in tune with their team like we are in tune with our teams, man. So shout out to y'all, and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate Dan for having me on your show.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. And what about you, Ian? And so what you got going on with Jet Central the rest of the week?
Yeah, for the rest of the week, I mean, we got tomorrow, Sunday, not a whole lot, but I got a lot of stuff kind of cooking for the following week, which I'm pretty, excited to kind of put out there and whatnot, coaching stuff and everything like that. So all that stuff should be up. Run a channel called Jet Central, pretty much all things New York Jets. And, I appreciate everybody on this, on the panel, dude. It was awesome. And hopefully it's not the last one.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And so what about you, Richie? So what you got going on?
Yeah, so Jets are versus the Bills Sunday, obviously. On my channel, once a week, I go on Madden 21 and I face the Jets opponent. So actually tonight, my buddy Jack is coming over and he's going to be the Buffalo Bills and I'm going to be the New York Jets. And I'm going to record that video tonight. It's going to be premiering tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So if you guys are interested to come in and watch me play as the New York Jets in Madden. Usually I always try to make it realistic. I sub in the guys that are realistic. If Darnold wasn't playing, I would play Joe Flacco. So try to simulate as realistic as possible. So that'll be out tomorrow. And yeah, pretty much the same type of content on my channel from here on out. And yeah, you guys know where to find me. And if you guys are interested in NFL content, I have a separate YouTube channel called Touchdown Kingdom.
Sick.
Again, thank you so much for having us on, Dan. Always love being on it.
Yeah, man, no problem. And so Dom Mafia, honestly, for the rest of the week, I might drop a video tomorrow. I'm not sure, but for sure on Sunday, I will be live streaming my game time reaction the entire time. I am going back to the bar. Fun fact. Weeks 1 through 4 was at the exact same bar, and we won each and every single game. The past 2 weeks, I was at my house watching the game on my TV, and we lost. So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Gotta get back there.
Don't worry, Dom Mafia. I'm going back for every single game moving forward. So let's get ready for 14-2, baby. Let's get ready for 14-2. No, just kidding. But honestly, guys, thank you so much once again for coming on. I love this fan v fan show. I plan on doing this throughout the rest of the season as long as I can find some more of the creators from the opposing teams. Thank you again, Richie and Ian, and of course, my dude, A-Rich. Thank you guys again. And besides that, guys, right before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.
Jets.
Oh, my God.
Got it.